Hello everyone, Mr. Lipchick here, and our presentation today will be on the constitutional amendments. We'll start with the Bill of Rights. The Bill of Rights is made up of the first 10 amendments to the Constitution. The Bill of Rights protects the rights and liberties of individual citizens, such as yourself. It defines our most basic freedoms as citizens. First Amendment. First Amendment states that Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, or of the right of the people to peaceably assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. To the right, you will see two students in the famous case Tinker versus Des Moines, where the Supreme Court upheld the right of high school students to wear black armbands in protest of the Vietnam War under their First Amendment freedoms. It protects freedom of religion and separation of church and state. It protects freedom of speech and of the press, and it outlaws prior restraint or censorship of the press by the government. And these rights, however, all have reasonable limits, and the key word there is reasonable. Free speech cannot be used as an excuse for inciting dangerous situations or libeling another person. And children cannot be denied food or medical attention in the name of religion. Second Amendment. Second Amendment, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. There's a great deal of controversy over this particular amendment. The National Rifle Association, or NRA, believes that it signifies an unlimited right to possess any kind of firearm you want. In practice, however, federal, state, and local governments have passed laws regulating or outlawing possession of arms under certain circumstances. And this has been an ongoing practice throughout the history of our country. Again, it is not an absolute right. Okay, to the right you see someone with a .50 caliber sniper rifle that can shoot over a mile. This is legal to own in some states, and it brings up questions such as, are weapons like these covered by the Second Amendment? Third Amendment. The Third Amendment prohibits the government from quartering or housing soldiers in people's homes. Britain had done this prior to the Revolution, and soldiers would help themselves to food and property. Not a pleasant situation. Fourth Amendment. The Fourth Amendment protects citizens against unreasonable searches and seizures. Police must have a search warrant before searching your home or property. An arrest warrant must be issued to take you into custody. And reasonable suspicion or probable cause are required to obtain a warrant. The Fifth Amendment. The Fifth Amendment, the government may not deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. You cannot be tried for a serious crime unless there is enough evidence for a trial. If you are found innocent, you cannot be tried a second time. That's considered double jeopardy. You cannot be forced to testify against yourself. You can plead the Fifth, not say anything. And you do not have to talk to police or prosecutors. The government can take your property in cases of eminent domain. That is, when it is for the public good. However, you must be given fair compensation. This would be, for instance, if a school district needed to build an extra school, they could take your property under public domain, but they would have to give you fair market value for the property. The Sixth Amendment. The Sixth Amendment protects the rights of those accused of crimes. The right to a speedy, public trial by an impartial jury. the right to know the charges made against you, the right to hear and question all witnesses, the right to force witnesses to appear at trial and testify in your behalf, the right to respond to testimony, and the right to be represented by an attorney. Seventh Amendment. Seventh Amendment, the right to a jury trial in property disputes worth more than $20. The amendment enables citizens to sue to seek monetary damages for harm to self or property. Eighth Amendment. The Eighth Amendment bans excessive bails, fines, and cruel and unusual punishment. There is a debate within the legal system regarding whether the death penalty constitutes cruel and unusual punishment. Ninth Amendment. The Ninth Amendment, all other rights not spelled out in the Constitution are retained by the people. So they don't automatically belong to the government if they're not listed. If they're not listed, they belong to you. The amendment saves all the rights that are not mentioned in the Constitution for the people. The 10th Amendment. The 10th Amendment, the people and the states have rights that the national government cannot assume. This amendment preserves the sharing of power between state and national governments, which is our federalist system, our federal system. The Civil War Amendments. Civil War amendments were passed after the Civil War, 1861, 1865, in order to protect the rights of former slaves. The 13th Amendment, in 1865, outlaws slavery in the United States. The 14th Amendment, passed in 1868, protects the legal rights of former slaves and their descendants. States that citizens have the right to equal protection in the law, under the law in all states. And the law continues to protect the rights of citizens today. The 15th Amendment, passed in 1870, prevents the government from denying a person the right to vote based on race. Some of the Civil War amendments would eventually be ignored in certain states because of racial discrimination. These laws would, however, provide a legal basis for ending discrimination and segregation in the 1950s and 1960s. Later amendments. The 18th Amendment, 1919, created prohibition, making it illegal to manufacture, transport, or sell alcoholic beverages. The 19th Amendment in 1920 gave all women in the United States the right to vote. The 20th Amendment, passed in 1933, the Lame Duck Amendment, made the terms of elected officials start earlier to shorten the lame duck period in office. And the 21st Amendment, passed in 1933, repealed prohibition. The 22nd Amendment, passed in 1951, limits the president to 2 terms in office. The 23rd Amendment, passed in 1961, allows the residents of Washington, D.C. to vote for the president and vice president. The 24th Amendment, 1964, outlawed poll taxes, which were used to prevent African Americans from voting by charging them a fee to register to vote. The 25th Amendment in 1967 established procedures for the vice president to become president when the president can no longer serve, either through death, injury, or conviction. The 26th Amendment in 1971 lowers the voting age to 18 years old. And the 27th Amendment in 1992 makes congressional pay raises effective in the congressional term following their passage. That concludes our discussion of the constitutional amendments. Thank you for viewing, and I look forward to seeing you in the live lessons. Have a great day.